talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. And today, my very special guest is Teron Johnson, but we're going to call him Ron. And he is a mentor with BoyzToKings mentoring organization in Madison, Florida. And he previously was a mentee of their organization. So our topic is from mentee to mentor. So you definitely do not want to miss this conversation. So please like, share, tag a friend, let them know they need to be on here. I expect all of Madison County, Florida to be on the live tonight, including Coach Merv. Shout out Coach Merv. Giving all the love to Mr. Ron Johnson tonight as we engage in this conversation. But before I bring him on, I need to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Let us know in the comments. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And this is an interactive live. Your comments, your questions are very much so welcome. And so we want to engage in a conversation with you tonight. I see some folks already in the chat. Mr. Marcus Boston, he is here, author of Unfazed Publishing. He is out of Tampa. I missed you too, Marcus. Where you been, man? Don't stay away so long, but glad to have you with us today. My mom is on down in Miami, and today is her birthday. Woo, 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 woo. Happy birthday, mama. Love you. Hope you've had a great day, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. All right, Coach Merv, let's go, T-Ron. I'm here for you. I love it. All right, Miss Tanisha Jackson is here. Love it. Thank you for being here. Miss Jackson was one of the parents of BoyzToKings, and we had her on with a panel of parents not long ago. So thank you for showing up and being present. She wished mom a happy birthday as well. I appreciate that so much. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and share some of Ron's bio. Mr. Teron Johnson is a native of Madison, Florida, grew up in a single parent household, graduated from Madison County High School. After high school, he attended Warner University, where he received his bachelor's in business administration, HR management. After receiving his degree, he moved to Houston, where he worked as a marketing executive for AT&T, Sam's Clubs, and various other Fortune 500 companies. While working amongst these companies, he gained the knowledge and importance of business structure and advertising. And he moved back to Madison, where he is currently serving as a mentor in the same organization where he was once a mentee, BoyzToKings. Y'all help me welcome Mr. Ron Johnson.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, Ron, I know you have seen the show before, but so you know what's coming next. Who are you? Not what you do, but in your own words, who is Teron Johnson?
Well, Teron Johnson is a key individual. Many tend to call me Captain Charisma. Very outgoing individual, loving, caring, very hardworking. It's hard. It's a lot of people will tell you it shouldn't be hard to explain and describe yourself, but I kind of deal with that a little bit. I'm me. I mean, I can't really, tell you ins and outs, different words or whatnot. I'm just me. Don't judge the book by its cover. Just get in and read, and you'll see what it is.
Okay. All right, me. I feel you. All right. Well, I'm so glad you are here. I want to, before we, I mean, we will be talking about your journey from mentee to mentor, but I want to also kind of go back to, how you got involved with BoyzToKings. I see we have Miss Vanetta Blakely on, who is a clinician out of North Carolina. Thank you for being here, Vaughn. And yes, Marcus said, like and subscribe. You better tell them, Marcus, they need to like and subscribe. So tell me a little bit about your journey, like how you came to get involved with BoyzToKings and just sort of the impact that it made on you as a young person coming up.
Well, for starters, I was in middle school, and I was dealing with a lot of bullying at the time. Like I said, I grew up in a single parent household, so it was just me and my mom. There was no active male figure inside of the household. Of course, I had uncles, and I had my grandfathers that were available to help me and teach me and show me different things, but nothing really truly compares to having that male figure inside of the household when it's just one testosterone cell of a kid, and that estrogen filled with from the mother. So it was, I can say there were a lot of times I kind of struggled with emotions and how to handle a lot of things. I was always taught to be that good guy, be respectful, treat others how you want to be treated. So that was my output. That was what I gave the world. I never was the type to pick on somebody, to see somebody that was doing less or better than me, and to say, hey, I'm gonna hate on this person, or I'm gonna make this person life worse than whatever it is. And then one day I think my mom gave me a call, or she picked me up and was like, hey, I'm taking you to meet with Mr. Merv. I was like, what Mr. Merv got going on? All I knew Coach Merv did was, he was involved with DJJ, and he was a football coach. And so I'm like, what's going on with Mr. Merv? And she told me, he had this mentoring organization, took me to meet him, met with the rest of the guys, and I was in. And at first I didn't really know what I was getting myself into or what my mom had, put me in. But all I could do was accept it. And he welcomed me in with open arms as if I was his own son. We had meetings, we did things, we went out and about, we did community events. And there was this one day I had the same pattern of bullying almost day to day. I can remember it. If I could take you to my middle school right now, I could walk you through the same sidewalk where I got bullied. And out of nowhere, I knew it was about to happen. I knew these guys were walking up behind me. We were going to lunch, leaving gym. I was like, well, it's that time of the day. It's time for me to get bullied. And before I knew it, there was Merv. And he was behind me. And if you don't know, I will tell you. But if you do know, BoyzToKings, the motto is not this one. I heard Merv say, he was like, hey, not this one. Y'all ain't this here, this bullying. You're not doing this no more. Leave that one right there alone. He with me. If you got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. So come to me. And he basically stood in the gap of that. And I mean, from then, I don't think I ever had to worry about a bully again. And that was mostly it for me. I mean, I wasn't a juvenile. I wasn't in any trouble or anything. To help my mom out, to help mold me into the individual that she wanted me to become. And so it just stemmed from that. I mean, year to year, day to day, I continued to grow. And I think going into high school, into my last few years of being in BoyzToKings, I was voted as president of the youth. So I acted as the youth president. I mean, it's a lot of people tend to say, I don't want this person, to be around my kid. I don't want this person spending time with my kid. I don't want this person in my personal business about what I got going on with my kid. And my mom was like, hey, it takes a village. I can't do it all on my own. So anybody me into the industry, it was there. And Boys the Kings was that anchor.
Nice. All right, we having a little bit of freezing, but we got the bulk of what you had to say. So that's great. I mean, I'm so glad to hear that, Coach Merv, you know, had your back, basically, right? And it
Yes, ma'am.
and it progressed from there, right? So to go
Absolutely.
on to become president, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so did you I mean, evidently you felt like you could be a leader within the organization because you became president. And so what's it been like for you to come back and maybe stand in the gap, sort of like Coach Merv did for you, for the young men that you are mentoring now?
It's actually, how can I say it? I'm still trying to soak into it. It's
Mm-hmm.
still a little fresh to me, but it's almost like I've been here, like I tell a lot of people, for me to be able to be in that middle age group, because I don't have any kids, I'm not married, and I'm not a youth that's still trying to come up, but I am a young adult that's
Right.
still trying to learn and understand how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to be able to help break down those words that the youth are receiving from the other adults, Coach Merv, and many other of the other mentors that we have,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a strong branch. I would picture myself as a strong branch,
Okay.
because the world is changing and it's constantly changing, and we're getting older by the second. So to be able to to stand here, and I tell the guys, I am a mentor, but I'm not the father. I'm not trying to be the one to chastise you. I just want to show you, hey, what they're saying, what we're telling you, what Boys the Kings is meant to be and what it's meant for. It's
Mm-hmm.
valuable. It's gold. Don't let it go in one ear and out the other. Don't
Mm-hmm.
take it for granted. Actually want to be around. And the thing is we're not begging. We don't beg anyone to be around. We let the kids know, like, hey, you got to want to be here. If we feel as if you don't want to be here, then there's nothing that you can really do in that situation.
Right.
But I just honestly, Miss Nicole, I give them the knowledge that I know I was once taught, but also I give them, the lecture and the structures of what I've been through. So, for some of these younger guys who are in middle school, I ask them on daily, hey, are you being bullied?
Mm.
All of them daily. Are you being bullied? Do you know anybody who's bullying somebody? Listen, we don't play bullying.
Mm.
And it's a lot of times these youth, and I get it. I was once a kid. I did have my moments where I could, pick at somebody just because the jokes were mutual.
Right.
And a lot of times I tell these guys, listen, man, don't get comfortable doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that, because you never know what the next person is going through. You
Yeah.
never know, what they have going on in their household. You never know how their day went. So it's
Mm.
like, just treat everybody with respect. Every time those guys come in, every time I see one of those guys, hey, be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Always smile when you're shaking somebody's hand. Look up, talk to me. Just be cool. And I mean, a lot of the things that go on is understandable. Guys are gonna play around, they're gonna joke and kid, they're not gonna take a lot of things serious. But it's like, listen, you might not take 500 of these things that I'm gonna say serious, but I
Mm-hmm.
need you to take the next one serious and
Okay.
let it with you close.
Nice. So I want to pause because we got a lot of comments. So I want to definitely acknowledge some folks. We got Mr. Warren Cave on. Good evening. Thank you for being here. He said, praise God for Boys the Kings. All right. Dante Bonners joined us, who is here in Tallahassee as well. Thank you for being here. Miss Jeanette down in Miami Gardens. Thank you for being here, Miss Jeanette. Miss Benita, who I believe is in Midway. Thank you for joining us. And Miss Janita, who is in Midway. She said, good evening. First, thanks for smiling. We need to see more Black men smiling. I appreciate your mom's psychological fortitude to know that the both of you needed more. Yes, agreed. Marcus said, I feel you with your concept of mentoring. Indeed. And then Denise Graham, an awesome young man. Thank you for being here, Denise. Uh, Oh, is this your mom?
Hey, mom, how you doing?
Okay, she said, "My boy, I love you, son. Thank you, Miss Johnson, for allowing for lending him to us tonight. All right, we appreciate you. All right, Brittany Brown. All right, Teron represent BTK and GTQ, and I think I saw Miss Shirley on. She said, "Here's one awesome young man who is she's the head of Girls to Queens, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken." All right, so thank you for being here. I knew Madison was gonna show up. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. All right, Cindy Smith, thank you for showing up. Appreciate that. All right, and Mr. Malcolm Peterson is here with us. Thank you for being here, Malcolm. And she said, "Yes, my heart, love it." So you have really already shared quite a bit, but I want to dive a little deeper. So, what challenges have you faced with transitioning from mentee to mentor, and how did you overcome those, if any? Maybe you didn't have any.
Oh, well, I can say that one challenge that I did face
Mm-hmm.
is, letting those guys know that we're equal, but we're not equal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically, we're here together. We're all, though we have mentors, we have the mentee, everybody's still being mentored.
Mm-hmm.
Little do people know, as a mentee, you're still able to mentor a mentor.
Yeah.
Like I said, the world is changing. So, even though Merv is teaching me something, there's still some things that I can teach Merv.
Absolutely.
I could teach Merv things about himself. So one thing, I think the biggest challenge would have to be the equality, and another one being patience.
Mm.
Like I stated, I don't have any kids. So
Right.
for me to, be around kids, it's been challenging. And I will tell you this, Miss Nicole, and I know a lot of my people in the chat will agree. I grew up on chastising. So whenever I did wrong, whenever I did something that I knew my mama didn't like and she wasn't pleased with, she pulled out that belt.
Yep.
My grandma, she pulled out that belt.
Mm.
Granddaddy, he pulled out that belt. So I did have a little moment where, some of those guys would give me trouble, and it's like, hey, I done told you more than once,
Right.
and it's like it keeps going on. I went to pulling for that belt, but I had to learn that times have changed. You can't just chastise any and everybody.
Yes,
Even though you may feel like it's necessary, it's not always necessary.
Mm.
So I would say those have been, three of my biggest challenges with, with transitioning from mentee to mentor.
Okay. So yes, I would imagine, since you are younger probably than Coach Merv, not probably, you are younger than Coach Merv, and probably some of the other mentors, then they probably would look at you like, you ain't my daddy. What you telling me thus and such about? You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine that definitely being a challenge. So Janita said, nowadays there is gentle parenting. Absolutely. There is absolutely gentle parenting. So yeah, you do have to be careful of that. So what do you believe are qualities that make for a successful mentor?
I like that one. That's a good question there, Miss Nicole. Some good qualities. Gotta have patience. It has to be, it's one of those things, like they tell you, leadership. You can't teach a leader. You can't really teach mentorship. I don't think. And that's my opinion. I know everybody, can pour their own slice of cake if they want to. But that's my slice. You can't, there's a lot of things that you can't teach. It has to naturally be within you. And I say that because you'll have people that do anything. They'll act out in any kind of way. And that's not the things that you want. You want things that are genuine. And I tell people this daily, I'm a sucker for genuine relationships. If it's not genuine, then what are we doing? I don't want anything forced. So if it's like the mentorship is forced, and I think the biggest piece that I can add into that, Miss Nicole, is something that Merv, he stresses on a daily. It's not a job. We don't want this to be like something that's, a burden on you, that's something that's weighing you down. It's just something that's a natural transaction. And for me, growing up and seeing a lot of the ways that a lot of my peers, the path that they took and, where they are now versus me and others, it's like somebody has to be able to balance that scale and say, okay, hey guys, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. A lot of guys, they'll teach you and they'll think mentorship, okay, hey, I was in the streets selling drugs, banging, 10, 20 different women. This is how you do it.
Right.
No, what about business structure? What about personal morals? What about goals? What about education? What about sports? Different things of that nature. What about reading? And I mean, you can just easily put somebody in front of somebody and tell them something, but is it genuine? Right. So I think you have to have a genuine mindset and genuine, for intensity, just be initiative, just have that initiation.
Okay, no, that's good. Cindy Smith, teach what you've experienced. So what were some of the qualities that you saw in the mentors that you experienced? And that could have been Coach Merv or any of the other mentors that you thought, man, I want to be like that, or I admire that. And it could have been the patience, it could have been the genuineness as you were talking about, but
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It was the genuineness. I mean, like I said, we have several mentors, and several of these mentors have kids, they have wives. So, and it kind of goes back to that question of how I see myself, now being in that gap between the mentees and the other mentors.
Right.
I want to grow up and, have a wife. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. So to be able to look at these other guys and see their families and, see how they love on their wives, see how they love on these kids, it's a blessing. And I think the biggest thing for me is Merv didn't have to bring me in. Mr. Tompkins didn't have to bring me in. None of these men had to take me in and do anything with me.
Yeah.
But they did. They chose to. Not because it was their job, not because someone else told them to do so, but because their will and their personal drive allowed them to do so. So that's my biggest thing. I don't want to have to feel like anybody is forcing me to do anything. I don't want to feel like I'm in a position where I'm doing something that I don't really want to do. So it's, that genuineness and that patience, like, hey, I done told you to sit down and joke about 10 times, but knowing like, hey, it's a kid. I know you're gonna do this. You're gonna probably disobey a couple of times, but you got to understand that there are consequences and repercussions to any action that you might make. So it was definitely the patience and the genuineness.
Okay, nice. So Warren said, I haven't had a lot of youth that I've mentored over 3 months, but I have a lot of adults. Give 3 tools that you use to impart into for youth about 1, their identity, 2, their value, their purpose, that's those types of things. Do you and maybe not you, but maybe you witnessed Merv maybe touch on identity, right? So I think identity oftentimes is maybe wrapped up in family structure or in family values. And go ahead.
So absolutely. And I'm hoping that I can paraphrase this the way that it was forming in my head as I was reading the comment. For one, giving, the ask about their identity. Now we do have 12 monthly principles inside of BoyzToKings. Each month is a different principle. And each month we're hard on these youth about understanding it and understanding the meaning of what that principle means. Now, one of those principles is honoring family. Now, this can kind of tie into both the identity and the value, because like you said, it kind of, a lot of things kind of start in that home, in the structure of that home. So I personally tend to use not necessarily saying it's a tool, but the way that I go about things is, okay, where do you come from? What is your household like? You know, what type of individual do you want to be? Who are you? So a lot of times, and not a lot of times, every time we meet with these youth and we're, you know, first encounterment, hey, how you doing? What's your name? We're shaking hands, firm handshake, and we're locking eyes with each other and we're smiling. And the whole moral part of that is to understand, like, hey, as a man, you have to be confident, not just confident with any and everything in the world, but confident with himself. So I think that boldly molds, you know, that identity, because if I'm not confident within myself, how can I interact with anybody around me? So it's more so just trusting and believing in yourself. And I know there was a couple of nights that we had sessions and we would be talking and we asked the guys some questions, and it's almost kind of in that sense, like some of them would wait, and it's like, okay, what are you waiting on? And it's not saying that they don't know the answer, but it's like sometimes we as humans, we kind of wait for somebody to authorize something that we're going to do or something that we're going to say. So the biggest thing that we've taught these guys is, hey, be confident with yourself. If you know you, or if you feel like you know something, speak up on it. Don't wait for anybody to tell you, hey, go ahead, or hey, what are you thinking? Go ahead and say it. No, if you feel as if it's right and it's within the topic of discussion, speak on it. And that builds that character. And mostly because when you sit in a room of multiple people, you can kind of piece out, not necessarily saying what somebody is going through or how they're feeling, but you can see how engaged or how in tune they are. And a lot of people aren't really confident. And you'll see sometimes there's people laughing, there's somebody maybe making fun, and it's like, okay, you're afraid to speak because you're thinking somebody's going to laugh at you or somebody's going to judge you, and it shouldn't be like that. So, and I don't remember what the third one was.
So I think it was value and purpose.
I think, honestly, I think all three of them tying together, because I mean, you have to willingly be confident within self to do whatever it is that you're seeking to do. I mean, whether it is being a football player, a basketball player, a baseball player, tennis player, whether you want to be a philanthropist or, you want to be a person that reads books or make all A's in school, you have the ability to do so. Only you can control that. So once you understand that, it's like, okay, I have the ability to control me. I have the ability to set myself aside from whatever it is that I have going on at home, or whatever it is that I might have, been habitized to by my parents or whoever. I have the ability to change that.
Nice. All right. So Warren further said, I do have more questions, but I want to listen a lot because you're touching me in a great way. I'm a mentee and a mentor. Love it, Warren. He said 12 principles, one each month. Love that. All right. And Janita, I love it. Reclaim your voice and speak up confidently. So do you think the young men have issue with that, speaking up confidently?
Absolutely. But something that I do input into our daily sessions is a 10-minute segment of just public speaking. And what that is sometimes I'll pull something up on my phone, or I'll just think of something off of my head. And I mean, most cases, the material that we have, because we do have a lesson plan person inside of BoyzToKings. Shout out to Miss Brandy. Every day on our calendar that we have a session, Miss Brandy has a lesson plan, and we're going over our two main topics for the night, and we're inputting anything else in there that we can that revolves around the structure of that topic. So it can be something as simple as the word of the day that we might have on the board. I'm going through different guys and saying, hey, come up front, stand in front of everybody. Here's your sheet of paper. Here's your podium. I need you to stand up. I need you to look, keep your back straight, chin up, look, face the crowd. And I need you to describe, give them your name. Tell them, hey, this is the BoyzToKings word of the day. Blah, blah, blah. This is the definition. This is the sentence. And this is what this word means to me. And a lot of guys do it. Some guys struggle with it. But what I can say is from that day to day, you can see the progression from,
Yes.
maybe on last Tuesday, such and such didn't, they were kind of bubbly. They were shaking a little bit when they were
Right.
talking. But now this week on Thursday, we're meeting. Oh man, he's ready to go up. As soon as before I can even ask who's gonna do this or who's gonna come do this, they're asking, hey, can I volunteer for this or can I volunteer for that? And now it's building that confidence.
Nice. I love that. I absolutely love that. So we are about halfway through our talk. Time is flying right on by. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am on with Ron Johnson, a mentor and former mentee of BoyzToKings mentoring group based in Madison, Florida. And we are talking from mentee to mentor. And so I think, again, great training ground. Thanks for sharing this 10-minute sessions on public speaking that you all do. I think that'll definitely help build that confidence and get them more comfortable with what is said to be the number one fear of most human beings, and that is the fear of public speaking. So we got Mr. Chris Davis on, and he said, love the public speaking development. It shows up in so many ways and settings. It's a powerful lifelong skill. Amen. Agreed. All right. Curtis Johnson, much love, nephew. All right. Thank you, Uncle Curtis, for being on here. All right. Warren said, I love the definition and ways of public speaking. How do y'all teach eye contact, tight handshake, and learning to listen? So that's a question. How do y'all teach that?
I mean, it's as hard as it may sound, but it's simple. It's repetition. If I'm constantly coming up to you every day, and with even without that repetition, it's the consistency of seeing the mentors and the role models that are present enact these situations. So if I'm greeting Merv's walking up to me firm, and on point. Hey, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. How was your day? And we're shaking hands. Every time a kid pulls up to our headquarters and they get out the vehicle of their parents, most of them are already smiling. Sometimes we have those guys who get out, day to day. Oh man, I don't want to be here. But even they, they sometimes tend to perk up throughout that process as well. Mm-hmm. And it's simply, hey, hey, how you doing? They're happy, they're joyful, and they're ready to be there and they're ready to learn. So I think it just all falls into that consistency and the repetition of actually seeing somebody ahead of you do the same thing. And we've had businesses, we've had several different employers come through. So it's not always just us teaching these guys. We have, other community people that come in and, speak, other people who can set the example of what is and what not to do, So it's like once you see it so much, it's just a second nature.
Yeah. Nice. So how do you balance offering guidance while allowing your mentees to develop independence?
The saying is, I can lead a horse to the water, but I can't make them drink it.
Right.
Once again, I think I'll probably say repetition probably about 1,000 times before this.
And that's fine.
But I think it's solely bases on that repetition. Like we have everything set in place. Like I said, from when we know we have an upcoming month, our lesson planner is, hey, I'm planning for the month. If you have any dates that you want to, do this or do that, you think we need to switch this up or switch that up, we're inputting it. Everybody has, their topics that they're throwing in, and we're going by it. We don't switch up anything. We're down to the T. We're strict on what we're doing, and we're doing it with a purpose. So I think when you do that, you can't get knocked off the train tracks. It's there. And it's like you either abide by it or you wash out.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be in this position, we're not asking for the washout. We wish that you don't wash out, but it does happen. Yeah. So when we're teaching that guidance, it's like, we do anti-gun violence videos. We do anti-gun violence topics. We teach fire safety. We teach life skills. We teach social skills. Yeah. So we're giving these students the guidance. We're giving them that path. We're giving them the light, like, hey, this is the light that you take to walk you down this dark path. We're not saying that there's not going to be a rock that slips up and hit you in the head or not. We're not saying that, but we're giving you the tools to be able to attack anything that comes your way. And don't get me wrong, sometimes kids do slip up.
Yeah.
We've had several situations where a kid might have did something and or had an accident at school or something. And with that public speaking and knowing that BoyzToKings is an organization and more so of a brotherhood for these guys, you know what? You got in trouble in school today. The rest of the mentors have already talked to you. Your parent has already talked to you. Now, I need you to go talk to your brothers. So I need you to stand up in front, tell the guys what you did, tell the guys where you went wrong, and tell them why this is not acceptable.
Ooh.
Now
you talking about some accountability right there. Listen.
And that's the thing. One of our monthly principles is accepting accountability. And that's just solely, becoming a man. If you cannot accept the accountability for your actions, whether right or wrong, then who are you?
Ooh, I'm getting hot just thinking about that. Great day. I wouldn't want to be in that hot seat.
Hey, well, when you play with fire, sometimes you got to get burned.
My Lord. Okay, wait a minute. We got some more folks on here. So let me pause. I see we have Kenneth Fuller. Thank you for joining us.
Mr. Kenneth.
Yes. Mr. Davis said repetition is the mother of skill. Amen. Amen. We got Mr. Tyrone Brooks on. Thank you for being on, Mr. Brooks. Brother Malcolm said sometimes the firm handshake comes from family, brothers, father, and community. Absolutely. Miss Sandra, she said a lot of great stuff that the kids need. Yes, and she's one of our parents who was on our panel a few months ago, actually. Owning the accountability. Absolutely. So everybody's chiming in about this accountability piece. Yes, Mr. Brooks, ownership and accountability. Absolutely. Yes. Brandy said, my Lord, listen, that's what I'm feeling right now, Brandy, my Lord. Let me see. Warren, this is my last question because I'm taking notes. I love you and what you're doing. How do you begin to teach or mentor the youth into giving back to their elders, family, community, and also peers? Ooh, good question.
I like that one. So I'm going to hit you with another principle. Honoring family. Respecting our elders is another one. So we're teaching these youth like, hey, this is an elder. This is somebody that's above you. And more so merely everybody has that same, not necessarily that same family structure, because of course, there might be a death in the family or a tragic event or something. But everybody for the most part has that same family structure. They have a parent, a mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, granddad, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more so, how do you want people to treat you? Feel if someone disrespected your grandmother? How would you feel if somebody disrespected your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your whoever? So I think when you take everything outside of that box of input and what's coming in and kind of focus on what's going out and what is that person putting out, it kind of hits different.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I never thought about, somebody was to disrespect my grandmother, because the first thing that somebody's going to say, oh, ain't nobody going to disrespect my grandma. You don't know that. Every child is not raised and they're not nurtured in the same way. So it's like, I might be respectful to somebody's, grandparents, but I can't say that the next person would do the same. So when we're sitting all up under that one roof at our portable in our headquarters, we're hard on it. We're adamant about it. And like I said, we have elders that come in and cook for us. We go out and do community events for elders, whether it's mowing their yards, doing a yard cleanup from leaves, or just helping them out. I remember even when I was back as a mentee, during Thanksgiving, me and some of the other guys, we took handmade Thanksgiving baskets and went to, several people's doors that were possibly in need, and we passed out those Thanksgiving baskets. Nice. I've built ramps handicap ramps for elderly people. And,
Nice.
all of this stuff is visualized. So it's like when you see it and you see the person that's teaching you this, it's kind of hard to not follow it. And it's one thing to see someone teaching you something and they're not living or abiding by the things that they're telling you. It's kind of hard how are you going to want me to follow your steps and you're not even following your own steps? You trampling over your feet, but you want me to follow your steps. I don't want to trip. I want to walk straight and narrow. So it's like when you see it, I think it just says it itself. It's kind of hard to go away from it. It's a principle. You have to abide by it. It's instilled in you.
Wow. So you are just merely echoing the excellence that BoyzToKings exhibits. I have been able to witness firsthand in this portable that Coach Merv has put together in a very magical kind of way, and is doing great and wonderful things. So I there's somebody on here that I think you might know, that that may be very proud of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is
Granddaddy B.
Okay, so Granddad B, he says, I see the work that my daughter has put in with her son. Thank you. Is it Tamara or Tamara? Tamara, for raising my grandson on the right path. Now that is quite the compliment and commendation. So thank you, sir, for being on this live and for sharing that beautiful sentiment about Mr. Johnson, Mr. Ron Johnson. All right. So a lot of great comments coming in. Coach Merv, you're doing a great job. To Ron, love you, young king. Marcus, this is a wonderful show. I'm getting flashbacks of friends I had as a child who needed this program. Yes. Cindy Smith, shout out from Miami. Come on down. We need you. Yes, agreed. Kenneth Fuller, absolutely correct. All right. Yes, wonderful. So great conversation. Great discussion. So in what ways can mentoring others enhance your own professional growth and leadership skills? How's it impacted you?
How has it impacted me?
Yeah.
Repeat that full question for me, Miss Nicole.
In what ways can mentoring others enhance your own professional growth and leadership skills?
It could teach me a lot of things that I don't know about myself. And I wouldn't say that on a necessarily business and professional standpoint, but more so in the household. Like I said, I grew up single parent household, so I don't want to follow that footstep. I don't want to have any kids that cannot live up under the same roof with me and the mother that birthed them. If it's not like that, I don't want it. Gotcha. And I'm not trying to aim for anything that's other than that. So more so, it's impacting me because it's telling me and it's teaching me the patience, the necessary, tools and mindset that I need to have to get these things done that I'm trying to pursue. And then also on a business standpoint, just following Merv is teaching, the confidence to be able to step aside from, the normal. And when I say the normal, a lot of times when you, in this day and age, Miss Nicole, a lot of times, a lot of people like to pull out the color cards. And when I say the color cards, they like to do a separation. And within that separation, you have blacks and whites. But following in Merv's, footsteps and watching him and the things that he's been doing and the things that he's continuously doing, those cards, they're not legible in this game here. So toss those out of the deck. We're not playing the race cards. Gotcha. And so for me, it's understanding that, you're always going to need somebody, whether they're black, green, blue, white, yellow. It doesn't matter. You're going to need somebody. Right. but to be able to be blessed to have people that can step in and help you, no matter whether it's financially, mentally, physically, or however, but to be able to have these people, but to know how to channel yourself with these individuals and just be, be you through it all. I think that says enough.
Yeah, no, that's good. Marcus said, do you think mentoring these children will help you appreciate being a father one day?
Absolutely. That's a no doubter.
Okay. Nice. All right. So Miss Sanders said, okay, Coach T, come on. Wow. So again, BoyzToKings is a phenomenal program. If y'all want to know more, definitely check out my show with Coach Merv. I've actually had Coach Merv on twice. And again, I have gone to the BoyzToKings headquarters and witnessed it for myself at a parent meeting. I spoke. And I was just blown away by just the order, the structure. Just he had everything planned out just so, and it shows, like it shows excellence throughout not only the youth but also the mentors as well. So, when you're dealing with the mentees, I know different ones probably need different things. Are there any strategies that you use to kind of assess the needs and the goals that they might have? And they might not even know they have any goals because they're so young. But, do you, you can't necessarily do the same thing for every person because, sometimes there's some nuances to some of that. So how do you manage that type of thing?
Putting the time in. And when I say putting the time in, it's not something that we've been working on for these last few months, especially going into the end of the school year where there's not a lot of time that you can get into the schools and visit with the youth to see things on that academic standpoint, and not waiting on them to come and show up to the headquarters for a nightly session. But calling them and being able to see them out in the community, or being able to see them at their homes, or being able to go and pick them up and do something with them, maybe whether it's going out to eat for lunch or something, or taking them to an amusement park, or just doing something with them just personally one-on-one. You will never really get that. And I can say that that's something that I'm still working on, understanding the different things that each kid may or may not need. Right. But it's definitely something that I'm noticing, that every kid, you can't chastise every kid. You can't yell at every kid. Some kids need that gentle correction. Some people need to visually see how things, how they work. Some people need a one-on-one talk. Some people can't sit in a group and get and obtain the knowledge, the things that you're trying to teach them. So it's more so just, picking through each youth and kind of just identifying the things that they're lacking on, the things that they're, succeeding with, and, just balancing it from there.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. All right. So Janita said, y'all go watch the shows with Coach Merv and share with someone who could benefit from the community. Absolutely. Now, BoyzToKings does have some activities in Tallahassee. Sometimes I know that the organization in Madison travels, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Merv does some sessions or what have you at some of the schools over here. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So he may be able to speak more to that. And, Merv, if you don't mind, please share BoyzToKings information in the comments so that we can put it up and give y'all a shout out. So I'm again really blown away by you, Mrs. Johnson. You definitely have learned well, but I think also are sharing well the things that you have learned and the things that you maybe wish you had in the household, but also just, well, I guess you did get it because you got it through BoyzToKings. So I commend you on the wonderful work that you have done and are doing with this great organization. So, we talked about just the mentorship piece. How do you measure maybe impact with the mentees development? Like, do you all celebrate successes with the young people, or how do you measure any of that, the work that you're doing?
So I think I wouldn't say that I personally, um, monitor that personally, but collectively as a whole, Boys to Kings, Girls to Queens, I can say the number one starter is that throughout the school year, each 9 weeks, whoever obtains all A's,
Okay.
and this is AAA, not AABA. This is all A's.
I heard you.
Down the board. We grant that youth with $100.
Okay. That's an incentive.
And that's just solely to say, hey, good job at kicking the books. Good job. Not other than that, we have king and queen status.
Okay.
So for our Boys to Kings youth, there's a checklist of things that they either have to do or needs to be done before they can be on king status.
Okay.
And with them being on king status grants them for trips, extra snacks from, the store that we have inside of the portable, it's many different things. And it's solely, and I also can say with king and queen status, the biggest portion of that is parent involvement and youth behavior. If there's a lot of times that you're written in our disciplinary book, depending on what that action may have been and how many points it might have cost you, you will not be on king status. And we stress daily the importance of being on king status. I mean, you're a man. The whole organization is from Boys to Kings. You can't be a boy forever. At some point, you got to touch king status and become a king, which we call these guys. What's up, young king? So for them to be able to see the things that they can get on king status, it's there, and we let them know that it's obtainable. It's up to you. So I think those two things are how we merely monitor the impact that we have on these guys.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's see. I think this is Miss Tanisha. She said, "You're doing amazing, Teron. You're like a big brother to our kids. We thank you and love you." Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful. Love you too.
Yes. All right. We got Brother Quasi who just joined us. Thank you for being here. So we are pretty much at the end of our talk, but I want to give you an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell the people how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me at my email at johnsonteron@gmail.com. You can reach out to my cell number 850-464-6518. And my Instagram handle is at the bottom as well, rexj.23. I'm open if you have any questions or would like to talk one-on-one about some things. I know Coach Merver probably put the Boys to Kings information in there as well. I will say that throughout my time of being in Boys to Kings, we only served in Madison. As I, went out and, experienced the world and came back, I've, learned that we service in multiple counties now. We serve here in Madison. We serve over in Hamilton County. We serve in Taylor County, and we also serve in Leon County. And I can say, I know Merv and the rest of the family in here will back me up on this. We are looking to expand. And help out as many places as we can. We have been voted best Florida. I think it was 2023 and 2024. Merv backed me up on that. But I mean, the work speaks for itself. You can go to our website. We do have a website. Check that out. And I mean, it's all there. The proof is in the pudding. I'm a living witness. So it's not every day. And I know Merv can back me up with this as well. I mean, it's not every day that you can, mentor somebody and see them, come back around in full circle. And I think that was the biggest thing for me as well. Upon coming back is seeing Merv's son, TJ. As I was serving as president, we kind of did this thing where Merv said, you older guys, you're not gonna, mentor one of the younger guys, and TJ was my mentee. But and see TJ growing up into the individual that he is now as a 16-year-old, I mean, it's beyond amazing. I mean, I look at him every day. Every day I talk to him, it's like, man, you were just here. I was just running out on Friday Night Lights, at the football game, and I had this little guy on my shoulder holding my helmet. So It's just like, time is flying, and it's when you can see it, I think it's just unbelievable.
That is very unbelievable and very amazing. And kudos to you for, coming back and pitching right on in there. I mean, that's just phenomenal. I have definitely thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope the viewers have too. If you have, let us know in the comments. I encourage us to keep this conversation going and to find out more about BoyzToKings. I believe BoyzToKings needs to be everywhere, because again, the work is so important. The parental involvement is so important, and getting on king status. I know that's important because they want to go on them trips, and they know they won't be able to if they don't have them points. So
Absolutely.
Listen, y'all need to get plugged in, because they are doing some great things. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for your time, for your energy, for your knowledge, for your expertise, for your love, for your care, for your patience. all of the above, because I'm sure it's not easy, but I'm sure it's a labor of love.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we got a lot of comments coming in. Awesome job, Hamilton County. Miss Brittany, thank you for being here. Awesome job. You are appreciated. Miss Janita, I will be praying that funding is granted, release for expansion. Yes, we need all those prayers. Proud of you, King. Mr. Brooks, your presence is essential. Thank you. Warren Cave, I'm mad. I wanted to ask more questions, but I was given much knowledge. It's all right. We're going to connect you, Warren. We're going to connect you so you can ask more questions. Oh, Mom Johnson. Mom is in tears. Love it. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Miss Tanisha, awesome conversation. Thank you. Miss Shirley, represented well, Tehran. Thank you so much. Marcus, outstanding broadcast. Like and subscribe. You better go on and be my promotional person, Marcus. Like and subscribe on YouTube and other platforms as well. I'm about to hit it up since you gave me a good segue, Marcus. All right. So please, Conversations with Nicole. Please please subscribe on YouTube. We're here every Monday and Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, focused on primarily mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. Mentorship is part of that. So y'all got a great lesson, I believe, from one of the greatest to ever do it. I would have to say, in all my years of being on the show, I've not had quite the mentor to talk about it in this way, outside of Coach Merv, of course. But yes, please like and subscribe and come back and spend some time with us. Grandpa B said, this is only the beginning of what God has restored for you in your life. I'm proud of you, man. Oh, love it. Let's bring a tear to your eye. Let me pull my tissue out. Oh my goodness. Don't make us cry, Mr. Johnson. That's beautiful. So no, but seriously though, thank you so much. Much success with your endeavors, and I'm looking forward to seeing even greater and wonderful things from you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Nicole. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. All right, good people. Y'all, we will see y'all next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, let's keep this conversation going. Share this with a friend, a family member, or somebody that you think that will benefit from it. Coach Merv, he's a life coach and writing a book. Okay. Booyah. So that means you got to come back on, right?
Yes, ma'am. In due time.
All right. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.